learning about junior dragsters. My name is Bill. If you haven't learned about it yet, go ahead and check us out at Junior Dragster Plus. That'll be, I'll add a link at the bottom of this video here. And my username on the board is Wild Bill. Go ahead, ask it all the questions you want. There are no silly questions, just, we've heard it all before and we've all been there before. So go ahead, give us a shout out and check us out, and we'll all be more than happy to help you. Now, on to the video. Hey everybody, welcome back to another Learning Junior Dragsters video. My name is Bill. Today's video, I'm going to try and cover just about everything, including removal, disassembly, reassembly of your Shockwave clutch. First, I'm going to bring you in here. I'm going to show you some of the, go over some of the tools you're going to need, because there are some specialty tooling you're going to need. And then I'm going to do a little bit of, footage on the car, and then we're going to come up and do some stuff on the bench. And hopefully, by the time we're done with this video, you should pretty much have a good understanding of all the ins and outs of going through one of these. So let me get the camera moved over and we'll go through some of the tooling first and we'll get started. Alright, some of the tools you're going to need. This is a spring compressor. This is actually what retains the top plate and allows you to remove and install the top plate while compressing or uncompressing the spring. This one is actually homemade. It's made by a friend of mine. They are definitely available from JR. I think the one from JR has is actually a no tool type and actually has wing nuts. Here you have your spider tool. This is obviously for unscrewing and screwing the spider that is under the spring. That's where your flyweight rollers are, and that's also where you'll find the shims, and you'll have to change the shims that you have to change when you're going either between the red spring and the H series flyweights, or the purple spring and the C series flyweights. To drive this tool, we'll need 1 1/4 inch socket, preferably on a long handled ratchet, because the spider can be very loose or very tight. You might even need a long pipe to get some more leverage on there, depending on how tight it actually is. You'll need a clutch holding tool and a keyway. Because with the spider being so tight, there is no way to hold it without one of these. And this is a Shockwave clutch removal tool. If you have a clutch that's stuck on the crankshaft, you'll thread this in. This portion here will actually go down into the bolt hole without damaging the threads in your crank, and push against the bottom of the bolt hole and drive the clutch off of the crankshaft so you can get it out. Here I have an assortment of 5/32 Allen keys. Any of these should work, but these are what you're going to need to actually remove the top plate and to remove the flyweights. 3/4 and a 1/2 inch socket, or a 1/2 inch wrench, or socket, either one. 3/4 to hold the crankshaft, and a 1/2 inch to remove the nut, or remove the bolts that hold the Shockwave onto the crank. We have a 3/8, or not 3/8, or 3/8 drive 1/4 inch Allen key to remove the dual bearing upright. a small screwdriver and a magnet. These come in handy if you're wanting to change a flyweight while the clutch is still on the car, and I'll show you how to do that and how I do that. You need to have something like the half-scale removable clutch guard, I think, to be able to do that. I'm not sure if you can do it with one of the motivational tubing styles that actually bolt onto the side cover, and then the clutch goes over it, so you got to remove the clutch before. And then we got a 7/16 1/4" ratchet for changing the large black rollers. And then I got a 1" socket, which is what fits the removal tool. And I think that pretty much covers all the tooling. So let's go over and we'll start off on the car, and I'll show you how to remove it. First I'll show you how I change the flyweights while it's on the car, and then I'll show you how you use the removal tool to actually remove a stubborn clutch. Alright, got you over here on the car, and got the clutch clutch guard off. And let's see, there's one other tool I wanted to tell you about, that could come in handy. Let's see if I can get this on camera with being so close up on the clutch. This is just a regular pry bar, but what I've got over here over the end is a spark plug heat sleeve. Just something to protect so I'm not gouging into the aluminum with the pry bar. You could use a rubber hose or whatever, anything that's going to allow you to get in here and pry against the upright. See if I can get you in a little closer. Just show you exactly what I'm talking about. As you can see, if you get one of the towers or flats of the faceplate lined up with the upright tower, and you can slide your pry bar in, and you can use your pry bar against the upright tower and squeeze your clutch in, and that'll allow you to get in there and clean it. It can also help with removing the flyweights, because as you can see, the flyweights off the roller now, and obviously that'll aid in removal. It can also be used to service the black rollers here if you want to change those while you have and leaving the clutch on the car. Now I'm going to take one of the flyweights out, show you how I change the flyweight here on the car. Take our 5/32 Allen key. We'll remove this bolt. And I've actually changed flyweights. I've got a selection of flyweights that I use. I'll actually change flyweights if need be to either pick the car up or slow the car down. So what I found, pretty much every 2-gram change in flyweight that you make, you'll see a 400 RPM difference in where your engine RPM will flatline after the shift. For every 2 grams heavier, you'll see 400, or roughly thereabouts 400 less RPM, and for every 2 grams lighter, you'll gain another 400 RPM. So let's say you were using a C436 and you were turning 8,000 RPM. If you were to go to C440, or no, what did I say, 36? So if you were using a C436, you would see, and you were turning 8,000 RPM. If you went to a C438, you would expect to see roughly about 7,600 RPM down track. Alright, let's take the bolt out. We'll grab the nut with the magnet so that we don't lose it. Then sometimes you can pull it right out with the magnet. And again, this is where your protected pry bar will come in handy. With the magnet, you push that in a little bit and it'll pop right out. Or another thing I'll do is I'll take the small flat screwdriver and I'll get in here. I'm not sure if I can do it with the camera in the way. I think this screwdriver isn't the one I normally use. This is the screwdriver I normally use. Should have just grabbed it over on the bench in the first place. Watch now, it's going to make a liar out of me. I use a magnet to keep a hold of the flyweight so that it doesn't go flying out on me. And yeah, this is going to make a liar out of me now. I've made this trick work on the C4 or the H1 flyweights. I don't think I've ever done it with the C series flyweights, which is what I have in here. Alright, maybe we'll show that over on the bench. One of the other things you can service while the clutch is actually on the car, these black rollers. If you need to replace those real quick, just take your 1/4" ratchet. Do these one at a time, it'll help keep everything lined up. It should just come right out of there. Give it a little wiggle and it comes right out. Put that back on there. Put our bolt back through on our flyweight. Might need to grab the magnet to make sure we got the hole lined up. Seems like we're gonna have one of those days here. Well, that's an interesting trick. Let me show you what I've done here. I didn't even realize that was... But I've taken the pry bar and I locked the handle right up against the tire, and that's holding the clutch open. It is started. They don't have to be super tight on the flyweight lock nuts. But you definitely want to make sure they move freely. Another thing, having this pry bar allows you to do, if you do need to get in here, you get some brake or belt residue. That allows you to open and spray brake clean through everything and clean all the belt residue off. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove the upright and the retaining bolts, and I'm going to do that off camera. So we'll be right back and I'll show you how to use the removal tool to remove the clutch. Alright, got the upright off. We're ready to take our removal tool. It just inserts right into the end. It threads into the clutch. And I know this clutch isn't stuck on there, but if you do have one that sticks, you can see how, as you turn, it just pushes against the bottom of the crank and pushes that clutch right off of there till it frees up, and you can take and slide the clutch off and drop your keyway while you're at it. I'm going to take our clutch off, take our keyway, and take our washer off. Alright, we're over on the bench with my Red Spring H1 Series flyweight clutch. This is the one I use on my 890 motor. This is the one that I typically use that screwdriver trick to change the flyweight, so I'm just going to show you that over here on the bench. Obviously this would be the same as I attempted to do with the Purple Spring C-Series clutch that I use on my 790 motor. But apparently the C-Series is a wider flyweight than the H-Series, so I couldn't get a grip under the flyweight bushing with the screwdriver to pop it up out of there, which I've done any number of times with this clutch. And you'll take your magnet, and you can see how it almost wants to pop out of there as it is. And you just take your small screwdriver, get under the bushing, pop it right up out of there. The magnet helps to hold on to it. And when you want to go put it back in, just slide it in there. Take the end of my T-handled X key, just give it a tap down in there. And then again, we can take our magnet to hold on to the flyweight so we can get the hole lined up to get our bolt through. And tighten it all back down. And like I said, that's, you know, if you've got a removable clutch guard, or you can get at it from underneath, from under your clutch guard and through your dual bearing uprights, you know, that can be done right there on the car, either by using the screwdriver and popping it out, or by using the pry bar and prying against your upright to move the sheath in, to move the spider and the rollers off the flyweight, so you can get the flyweight off, so you can change the flyweight without actually having to remove the clutch. Alright, next we're going to get ready to take the top cover off and start disassembling the clutch. First thing we're going to want to do is we're just going to crack these top cover retaining bolts loose. And make sure you got a good tight fitting Allen key, because nothing's worse than trying to get these bolts out and find out that you've stripped them. Alright. Yep. I think we got them all. But you want to make sure you don't try and take all of them out, because this spring's got a lot of pressure in here. And that's where we're going to need the tool. Now we're going to go over, get our holding tool fixed up in the vise, and use our spring compressing tool to hold the top cover in plate while we remove the rest of those screws. Alright, we've got our clutch holding tool mounted up in our vise. One thing of note, you want to make sure that the base where the clutch is actually going to seat is actually raised up against, you know, above your vise jaws. That way you don't have the clutch sitting right down on top of the vise, you know, and the sheath sitting right on the jaws. So we'll put our keyway in here. Go ahead, slide our clutch down on top. Alright, now we'll go ahead and take our, mine actually has a couple washers that sit down in here. Just threads right down into the same threaded hole that we used to remove the clutch from the crank. We'll go ahead and seat that. Go ahead and bring this nut all the way down. And now we can safely remove all the rest of our bolt, or remove all the bolts that hold the top cover on. Alright, and remember, as you take the last one down, the movable sheath is going to want to start dropping, so go ahead and make sure you get your hand underneath there to catch it, just so it doesn't drop and slam against the fixed sheath on the other side. Get this bolt out. There we go. Now we can take and loosen our nut on our clutch spring tool and relieve the tension on the spring. And once that's freed up, Now we can go ahead and remove the tool. Remove our cover plate. And our spring. Alright, to remove the spider, we take our spider tool. You can see how it's got 3 pins. Move the camera over here. You can see it's got, 3 slots in the spider where these pins just drop right down over. Alright, here we go. There we go. So you gotta knock a few things down off the workbench. And once you got it broke loose, just go ahead and spin this off. Yeah, I think I'm gonna bring the camera back in here, so be right back. Alright. Don't need that in there anymore. Go ahead and spin the whole spider and sheath assembly because it's all still lined up because of the rollers. And there we have our spider. And here you can see for the red spring, we have 1 small shim, 1 thick washer, and 1 small shim. And we can take our roller off, or our movable sheath off, and that's all there is to it. Oh, and then you also have the flyweight rollers underneath the spider. You should probably change these every year or so. Make sure they're all rolling free. You go to put it all back together, everything goes right back together. Oh, you got to put our spring shim pack in first. Everything goes right back together. Just the opposite of how it came apart. Go ahead and get it snug down by hand. And put our spider tool back on there. Go ahead and tighten this down. Get it as tight as you can. There's no need, you don't have to try and worry about getting as much as it took to get off, because the nature of how they rotate, when the engine is spinning, it'll actually help to drive and tighten everything. That's why it's always harder to get it apart than it is to put it back together. And now we'll go ahead and we'll put our spring back on. Put our cover back in. Making sure I got that. Might be easier to seat it on there. And this is only an issue with the small red spring, but I don't even think they offered this one anymore. There we go. I'll put it down on there. We'll get our spring tool back in. Trying to eyeball this so everything's lined up. As we compress the spring. Get everything lined up. You get your bolts started, being careful not to cross thread them. Okay, that one's down in. And no, there is no particular order on how you need to tighten these bolts. I just like to get one all the way on each face. And then go and tighten the other three. And then always go back and double check everything. Go through and make sure everything's was a little loose. I always like to finish up tightening them with a regular 90 degree Allen as opposed to the T-handle. So I can get a little more torque without the risk of stripping the socket or the socket head of the bolt or the Allen. And I've got just a little bit better feel. Alright, I can go ahead and loosen up our nut and take our spring tool out. And there we have it. Alright, here we got our Purple Series, or Purple Spring C4 Series flyweight clutch. I do want to get this one opened up and show you guys what's going on as far as the shims and everything in this clutch. I'm going to do most of the disassembly off camera because you don't need to see me go through all that again. It's just exactly the same as the other Shockwave I had up here. So I'm going to turn the camera off. I'm going to get this one down to just the spider removal, and then we'll pick it back up from there. Alright, over here on the vise we got the purple spring opened up. I'll go ahead and remove the spring, install our spider tool. Get this cracked off. We don't need that now. You can see this one wasn't quite as tight as the other one. And here we have the shim pack for the Purple Spring and C4 Series flyways. As you can see, I think they're about 0.32 thick. There's actually 5 of these that are all the same thickness. And these shims you can add or subtract to either make the hit of the belt harder or softer. I believe if you were to remove shims, it would make the hit softer, so it wasn't such a shock and it wasn't hitting the tires as hard. And if you were to go with all 5, that would be your hardest hit. I don't think JR recommends going any less than 3. So you at least want to have 3 in there. I believe they come, they all come with no more than 5, and I think 5 is the most you want to put in there. But if you need any help, or tuning advice on that, best to call JR Race Car directly, and they'll be able to guide you through all that. But shims, just like the other one, they go down on the post. Then you install your spider. And assembly is just the same as it is on the other Shockwave we had here. And just get everything seated down. Tighten it all down. Reinstall your spring. Put your top plate back on, put your spring compressor back on, and you're good to go. Alright, there you go. Little tutorial video on how to go through and reassemble a Shockwave, how to take it off the car if it's stuck. I think I've pretty much covered just about everything as far as the driven goes, I've been asked a number of times what I do for, you know, like routine maintenance or between round maintenance. Honestly, nothing. I don't even clean the clutch, or, you know, I literally don't touch it at all. Every once in a while, you know, like maybe at the end of the season, I'll go through and take it all apart, replace the rollers, change the spring, clean all the brake, any belt dust that might accumulate, you know, throughout the season at that time. But as far as between round, I almost never touch it. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you like, subscribe to my channel, and I'll be coming out with as many videos as I can, as often as I can. So until next time, we'll see you later.